Hello everyone, Guillermo here with Dragon Gate Design Studios, presenting our new and upcoming TCG, Hero Tactics. In this video, we'll be discussing everything from setting up, different card types, phases of the round, and winning the game. So let's get started. Setting up. In Hero Tactics, each player must have a 60 card deck, which consists of 5 character cards known as your party and 55 action cards. Unlike action cards, your characters won't be shuffled into the deck. Instead, each player selects 3 of the 5 characters, places them face down in the corresponding character zone, and places the remaining 2 face down in the roster zone. The roster zone is where characters wait to be debuted. Players will then shuffle up their deck and present it to their opponent. And now it's time to decide who goes first. After this has been decided, the player going first will get the initiative token, which we will explain later in this video. But for now, each player will draw 7 cards, choose 5 from among them, and send the remaining cards to the bottom of the deck. Available action points, or AAP, are then set to 1 for each player. And now, players are ready to begin the battle to see who has the superior party. Types of cards. We talked about character cards, but let's learn what information you may find on them. Character cards consist of a character type, elemental affinity, class, vitality, strength and magic, wisdom, and debuted and retired triggers. A character's type is represented here. This will determine what affiliation the character is. A character's elemental affinity is determined by the color of the bordering of the cards. Currently, there are 5 elemental affinities you need to remember. These are fire, water, wind, light, and shadow. With that said, I think it would be a great time to mention that a player's party may only consist of up to 2 elemental affinities. Now let's look at a character's class. This is shown here on the card. Currently, you can choose one of 11 classes. Next, let's look at the character's vitality, which is the maximum health a character can have. And once this reaches 0, the character will be eliminated. A character's strength or magic is how much damage the character can do when not using a skill or activating their ability. A character's wisdom is how many times the character may use their unique ability per game. Keep in mind, some characters may not have an ability or may have what's called a trigger ability. Some characters may need to level up before they can use their ability as well. And finally, a character may have a debut ability or a retire ability. Debut abilities will happen when a character comes into the battlefield from the roster zone, meaning that your starting character's debut will not trigger even if they have one when the game starts. A retire ability will take place when the character is eliminated and sent to the discard pile. These different traits in the characters will allow players to truly come up with a unique party. And since we all have different playstyles, we encourage you to explore all the possibilities to see which one resonates with you. Now, let's talk about the cards you may find in a player's remaining 55 cards. These are called action cards. Action cards are how players carry out their battle plan. These cards currently consist of the following: skill cards, item cards, reactions, buffs, and debuffs. For the most part, aside from the character cards, action cards look similar to each other, so let's take a closer look at how to read a card. On the top left of the card, you will find this circle. The color of the circle will indicate if there is an elemental restriction. Red means fire, blue means water, green is wind, yellow is light, and purple is shadow. If the circle is black, then there is no elemental restriction. You may also find a class icon in this circle. If that's the case, then the skill can only be used by that class. And of course, if it has both, then you will need to meet both of those requirements. Next, you will find the name of the skill you're using followed by the action point cost, or APC. As you can see, the maximum cost of any action is 10. The green circles represent how much AP the skill requires. And finally, let's look at the bottom of the card. Here's where you will find what the card does, and if it has any bonuses. Bonuses appear in some cards that, while not requiring a character to be a specific class, can bring additional benefits if used by them. Now let's look at the item cards. Item cards, like skill cards, are cards that once resolved are put into your discard pile. Item cards are very useful and can help players come back from behind. Let's take a closer look at the item cards. As you can see, they look almost identical to skill cards. One difference you may notice is the icon located in the circle. Item cards are represented by this potion icon. Item cards also differ from skill cards in the fact that they are broken into the following subtypes: index, potions, food, curse, and blessings. Although they all work the same way, some cards may care about these subtypes. Last thing you need to remember about item cards is that a player can activate their leader command to use an item card once per round without passing priority to the next player, meaning they can still perform an action with one of their characters. The third type of card you may find in a deck is reaction cards. Reaction cards, like their name suggests, are cards that a player may play when defending themselves. Reaction cards have a blue circle with a lightning bolt on the top left of the card. These types of cards can only be used at certain stages of the round. You may play them at the beginning of the turn, during the battle phase when your opponent is using an action card, and finally at the end of the round after every character has activated. For the last type of card, let's look at buffs and debuffs. Buffs and debuffs are cards that, like characters, remain on the field when they're played. Like item cards, a player can activate their leader's command to use a buff or debuff once per round without passing priority to the next player, meaning they can still perform an action with one of their characters. These cards do look a little different than the rest of the cards. As you can see, they are horizontally placed. Buffs are represented by the green upward arrow and will provide beneficial effects to your characters, while debuffs will have a negative effect on your opponent's characters and are represented by a red downward arrow. Some things to notice with these types of cards is that each player may have one of each active on the field, meaning you can have an active buff and an active debuff at the same time, boosting your party while at the same time negatively impacting your opponents. Players may also stack buffs or debuffs as long as they have the same name as the one that is currently active. There are no restrictions as to how many of these type of cards a player can have in their deck. Now, let's look at phases of a round. Like many card games, the rounds are broken into phases: beginning, battle, and end. The beginning phase is broken down into smaller sub-phases: refresh, initiative change, upkeep, replacement, and draw. Let's look at refresh. To refresh, it's very simple. All you have to do is turn all the characters right side up. And that's it. Initiative change. This changes with each round that passes. The player with the initiative token will be the player that gets to activate one of their characters first. Upkeep. Players increase their available action points by 1. Any effects that say upkeep will trigger in active player, non-active player order. Replacement. If a character was eliminated last round, replace it with a character from the roster zone. Trigger any debut abilities in active player, non-active player order. And then you draw. Each player draws a card. Now let's look at the battle phase. As mentioned earlier, the player with the initiative token will get to activate one of their characters first. Priority then gets exchanged to the next player to also activate one of their characters, and this repeats until all characters have activated. This will conclude the round. If a character has a positive or negative status when activated, resolve it before any action can be taken by that character. Characters have a couple of actions they can take when being activated. They can do a basic attack, meaning they will do damage equal to their current strength or magic. They can use their ability, or they can use an action card. Abilities cannot be used the first round a character has been debuted. This includes the character that the player started the game with. And finally, let's look at the end phase. This is the last opportunity a player will be able to activate their reaction cards. The player with the initiative will get a chance to use theirs first. How to win the game. I'm sure by now you're wondering how to win the game. The main way is to disband your opponent's party. To do so, you must eliminate 3 of your opponent's characters before they can eliminate 3 of yours. Another way players may win the game is for your opponent to run out of resources. So if an opponent withdraws a card and they are unable to, they lose. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. I'm Guillermo with Dragonskate Studios, and we hope to see you in our upcoming events. If you're interested in supporting us, make sure you check out our Kickstarter page and come join us in the Discord to keep up with news and events. Links will be in the description. Thank you for watching and have an amazing day.